Welcome back to the pod. Welcome
Dude,
back.
there's no way they heard that. You're too far away from the microphone.
All right. Well, then I'll cut that.
That's good.
Welcome
You're
back
good.
to the pod.
Dude, I was not ready.
That's right. We did one
Hey
2 days
guys,
ago.
welcome back to the
I'm
podcast.
I'm
Keeping
gonna
our
keep
buddy
what I said
Mason in
in.
the loop.
Keeping our
We
buddy
want to
Mason in
welcome
the
you
loop.
back.
What'd you say?
We want to welcome you back.
Welcome you back. We will say we do appreciate you guys listening to what we said last week. We have been decreasing in viewership, so that's good. Um,
Guys, I would like
we've
more
been losing
viewers.
viewership, which is good because we did ask if you're not Mason to not watch. Um,
Again, that's only Logan that wants that. I would like anyone who wants you to
I
watch.
mean, you can feel free to watch, but I think I'd prefer not to, just because it is keeping our buddy Mason in the loop, and if you're not Mason, then you're not our audience.
I personally
Um,
am willing to keep the rest of you in the loop as well.
well, the thing
Also, that's
is,
so ambiguous. Are you saying Masons only can watch? Just anyone named Mason?
anyways, to start off this episode, let's just say it. We did one 2 days ago, and we're back. What does that mean, Carson?
That means that we are doing a second podcast 2 days after our first podcast. Groundbreaking revelation. Did you have somewhere you wanted to go with that?
Just wanted to give a little thumbs up to myself in the camera. For our audio listeners, I just did a thumbs up, and a thumbs up bubble popped up on camera. That's what I call well done.
This is off to a really rough start.
This is a rough start. This is a rough start, and I think it's because Kobe's actively listening to us in the other room. This is the
I
first
think that
time
Logan feels uncomfortable with that.
I do
However,
feel uncomfortable with that. Um, but it's okay because I think I talk to Kobe all the time. Why does this even matter? It doesn't.
let's break this down. What makes you uncomfortable with?
I don't want to break this down. Let's move on to switch topics.
No, let's be
So I think
authentic.
I'm
I want to
becoming a
be
bracelet guy.
authentic.
No,
I want to be authentic on the podcast.
I do
Logan.
want to be authentic, but I don't. I'm not actually nervous. I was doing a joke. I was doing a little haha
Are you
joke.
using humor to deflect how you really feel?
No, I just didn't. It wasn't that deep to me.
Logan, this is a safe place.
Yeah, I know. I know it's a safe place. That's why I'm gonna go ahead and say I think I'm becoming a bracelet guy.
Hey
I
guys, I'm
think
starting a GoFundMe for Logan to get him into a therapist office, weekly meetings. It's about $60 a session. So if you are interested, I think I'd really love to support Logan in that way. You can Venmo. One second, let me get my Venmo. You
real
can Venmo
quickly, I'm
me.
gonna double check that the audio is coming in through the mics and not my laptop.
Okay. It's working great. Good job,
Dude, why?
guys.
I'm gonna
I
leave that in for you.
would like to have a personal library. It's one of my major life goals is to have my own personal library. I think if I had the income to like have one extra room in my house that was just a fun room, I would want it to be a library.
You didn't.
Probably.
You didn't even let me talk about my bracelet thing.
All right, yeah, sure, go for it.
What in the heck is your problem?
No, I'd love to hear about it.
We
Please
should not do 2 podcasts in one week.
elaborate
This is
on
not good.
elaborate on why. Well, it's not good because you're being weird about it.
No, I.
What's going on?
Yo, I'm just doing a joke.
Hey, okay, seriously, guys, Venmo me for the therapist money. Logan is not okay.
I'm doing great, bro. Today's been awesome.
Tell me about the bracelets.
Okay, so we got yesterday. I last link party, so I got this bracelet for being a leader, and it just says Merry Christmas. But I think I'm liking wearing it, and it makes me feel cool. And I think, you know, I talked to Luke Knowles, who's a pretty stylish guy, and he has his like cool bracelet, and I was like, dude, Luke, I think I'm becoming a bracelet guy, and he was like, okay, get this one on Etsy, and it's basically like just this expensive Chrome Hearts, which is like a bracelet brand apparently, and there's apparently like hundreds of dollars for them because they're silver plated, but on Etsy they're like $50. So I'm asking for that for Christmas, so that'll be cool. And I think it's a cool stylish thing for me because I'm getting into style, and
Logan is finding out about jewelry and he's
yeah,
getting his hands on some.
I am.
Yeah.
I am, and I think it's fun. I think it's fun to get into fashion a little bit for me because I just go purely for comfort. I'm wearing sweatpants right now. Just I'm just hanging out. But I think going purely for fashion, not purely for fashion, but just kind of trying to think a little bit more. Just kind of like, oh, this looks cool. I'll try it. and I think that's what I'm doing with bracelets.
So for all of these reasons, Logan is now considering he hasn't made the decision yet, but he might become a bracelet guy.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's probably the move.
All right, is that about all you want to say on that subject?
Yeah, I just thought it was a fun subject. I don't know.
All right, so
I
as I
like
was saying, a
bracelets.
big goal of mine would be to get my own library. Ideally, what I would like it to look like, I would want a fairly dark wood, oak, maybe mahogany. Um,
What dude? What is it? Is mahogany expensive? Why do I hear that and think like rich?
Mahogany is an expensive wood, to
It
my
is.
knowledge. Um, and I would want it to be a two-story situation. Ideally, a circular room. All right, if you're not watching, it's gonna be hard for you to see what I'm saying. I'd want to do a circular room.
You don't
Okay.
have.
With a wooden spiral staircase, not in the middle, but like off to the side. I want there to be a railing around the edge so that you can have floor to ceiling bookshelves from bottom to top, but then a circular railing that makes kind of a second deck. Um, and then maybe not a full circle, like not an entirely a circle, but with a small rectangular slash squarish alcove off to one side, which on the second story might have a chair. On the first would have potentially a desk. Maybe in the bottom floor you would have kind of a comfortable chair to do your reading in. And that's just something I think I would like.
Dude, that'd
So
be sick.
yeah,
That'd be pretty cool. Like not for the book aspect, but just to have some like cool spaces to just kind of have some quiet places.
right, right.
Cause for me, I don't read, but that would be cool to just have some
You read a little
quiet.
bit,
I read
right?
very, very little bit. Yeah. Um.
You kind of got into a book for just a season, like you were into the
Yeah.
creative book for a little while, and then you just sort of kind of stopped.
Sitting right here.
Show them
Uh.
the cover. Tell them about it.
Tell 'em about what?
Tell them about the book.
It's a good book. I mean, it's essentially like a collection of small essays, um, by Rick Rubin, who's like a producer, and it's a good book. I think it's like a little, it's just talking about like creativity and nothing crazy. I mean, it's pretty cool to just kind of read that, and I think it gives me some inspiration, I guess. But it's like I don't know, dude. I don't read though. Like that's
Why
what.
not?
Why not?
Yeah.
I just don't really. I don't enjoy it.
Yeah. What about it specifically?
I just get bored. I just get
Ah,
bored.
okay. Like, would you say it's primarily an attention span deal?
I mean, attention span, but I also just don't like. Yeah, yeah. I think attention span because I don't see value in spending my time doing that
Right.
because I don't. I just get bored.
Right. And if something
But
is boring, it's like not worth doing.
for me,
Yeah.
not really. But there's not like a. I don't know. I just get bored and then I'll try to make myself read and then I just like lose focus and it's just a
Yeah. You
battle
got
of
to
that.
find a more engaging book. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe.
Because you
Yeah.
read when you were younger.
Right. But that was pre-video games. I will say, okay, I guess I might be getting into reading at some point in the future because my world is drastically changing pretty quickly. Not okay, that's not true. My world has drastically changed in this semester than the rest of my life. Like I'm not interested in video games anymore, and that's big for me. That's pretty much it. But that's
Do you
like
think it's possible you're having just the reverse of a video game phase? Like it's pretty normal to have a phase where you're super into video games. Is it possible that right now it's just kind of a phase where you just don't really care about them and you might get back into them later on?
I mean, maybe I don't think so, but I do think I mean I still like playing them, but I'm never gonna be at the same point that I was.
Sure, but that's
Um,
I feel like no one's ever at the same. Like high school is pretty much where you peak with video games.
right. But yeah, I don't know.
You should get Lethal Company.
I might. I'll think about it.
If you don't know, Lethal Company is a little horror game. Sorry, I'm just gonna.
Or a bowl game.
Logan's never played, so he's saying that with
That's true.
no information.
I did get a
Um,
haircut.
you got a haircut?
Yeah,
Nice. It looks really good.
thanks. You didn't
Is that when
notice
you talked
until
to
just
Luke
now.
Knowles about bracelets
Uh-huh. Yeah, Luke knows is a barber for anyone who's not Mason, which I don't know why you're watching this still. If you're
and or hairdresser? We don't want to be.
I mean, yeah, he's a jack of many trades. Not all of them, but many of them. Dude, he told me he's running a half marathon with no training this weekend.
What is that? 13 miles.
Yeah, it's like 13 miles.
Rookie numbers.
But he was like, dude, I don't know the last time I've run.
That's
And
funny.
but he's
He's
like
a fit guy.
but he's a big dude. He's not gonna be able to run 13. There's no way. He's like 220 pounds of like muscle, and running like that's gonna be so hard.
I think he'll be able to. I think he
I
could
think
do
he'll
that.
be able to get half of the half marathon. But dude,
No, 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 no,
13 is
no.
with no training.
Okay, I
If he
haven't run
can
in a
do
long
that,
time. I haven't run in a long time. Luke is more athletic than me, and I'm confident that if I was like forced to, and I really had the motivation, I could go at least for 8 miles right now. Because if you think about it, it's not like you're running your 1 or 2 or 3 mile pace. You're running a half marathon pace, which is
right,
like 12-minute miles, maybe.
right.
Actually,
That's not.
let's get our resident marathon slash half marathon source. Kobe, what's the regular half marathon pace? Yeah, Kobe's a little marathon boy.
10-minute mile.
Like 10-minute mile would be good for a beginner. Right.
Wow.
There you go.
Oh, for Mason basically Kobe just said, beginner level is probably 10. Me and Katie's first was 9. So,
And we all know that
we
Kobe
just
was running
flexed.
just a little bit slower for Katie.
Yeah.
What was it? Ooh,
Oh,
7:40 half marathon
7:40.
pace. Have you ever done a full? Okay. Okay.
Wow.
Another podcast.
Yeah, we'll
Whenever we
have to
have
have
Kobe
Kobe
on,
on the
we'll talk about
pod.
his marathoning
We'll have to
days.
have Kobe on the pod this weekend because we're gonna try to do 3 in 1 week. That is true. He is related to
He
Mason.
is related blood to
Yeah,
Mason.
we'll have Kobe on this weekend because we're gonna try to do 3 in 1 week. I've decided now.
All right, well, we'll see if that fits in my schedule. Logan, are you interested in me pitching to you why you should play Lethal Company with us tonight as a
Go
podcast
ahead and
segment?
pitch me.
Okay, guys. So first of all, um, video games are a primary way that once you spread out, you can stay connected, right? So first of all, it's just a fun time, and Lethal Company is really not a horror game in the sense that it's not like there's some games where you play them and it sticks with you and it just is creepy. I don't like that kind of game. Neither does Logan.
Yeah,
Now, Lethal Company is going to have a couple jump scares.
hate that though.
Right, right. But we have found a solution. In Lethal Company, it's very helpful to have someone that stays in the ship to open doors and things of that nature, basically, the guy in the chair. But that's a boring position because there's none of the jump scares involved. And that's kind of what a lot of people play the game for. So we're saying, Logan, get on. We'll buy walkie talkies because you can do that in the game. And then you can be the guy that, makes sure we are getting through
Yeah,
everything okay. And I think that, and it wouldn't be scary at all. And you would just basically get to chill and talk with the boys.
right. I'll think about it. I don't know, man. Scary stuff is not my move. I just like to.
It wouldn't be scaring you at all.
Yeah, it would. It would be scaring me. I don't know. We'll see. I'll think about it. I'll
All
think
right.
about it. But anyways, I don't like video games anymore. I don't know why
Well,
I
you
started
don't. Well,
saying
do
that.
you dislike them or do you just not really have an interest?
I don't have an interest.
Right.
Right, like if I had an interest in anything, it would be Rocket League probably. But it's like I don't have the interest in like sitting down playing video games.
Right. You're feeling apathetic towards them.
Right, which I think is way better for me to be than to be excited. Right, not to hate on video games, but video games had a massive control in my life in the past.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm like, and now that I'm not, I'm like way more productive right now at least. And so you know, I don't know. I'm just entering a new. Why was I talking about entering a new stage of life?
Basically, just because you stopped playing video games.
Right, but no, I was leading with
Well,
something.
I was talking about having a library, and you were saying that'd be a cool place to have like a quiet place to do stuff.
Oh, because I might start reading.
Right. Right. Which
Right.
is so interesting to me. Okay, so you enjoyed the Harry Potter books, is that correct?
Yes.
And you enjoyed the Percy Jackson books in the beginning.
Yes.
Okay, so when were those the only really books you read?
Yes. I think I read Lion the Witch and the Wardrobe, but those were so long and I don't recall them.
What do you think changed between when you read Harry Potter and now that is making it so you just can't read?
Uh, I don't know. I just don't enjoy it. I don't. I
I know,
think
but okay, this is basically my thesis, right? You have enjoyed reading before.
in the past.
So it seems like it's not that you just because you know one thing I've noticed is that it's very a lot of people will say they don't like reading, and most of the reading they've done is books that I don't enjoy. Like who would enjoy reading most? Like you know, like when I was in high school and people were like, "Yeah, I don't like reading." It's like, well, what have you read? And their teacher assigned them Wuthering Heights, and it's like no one
Right.
enjoys reading that book. It's a bad book.
Right.
Uh,
I
and
I
and
will say I do enjoy reading this. Like, so I got talking on the mic. I keep moving my head. Um, I do enjoy reading the creative act. Um, when I'm reading it, but it's like I lose focus pretty quickly, and my mind starts wandering. Um, and it's like that with the other book that I read too, and like just books in general, I feel like I lose focus pretty quickly. Um, and I when I'm like in it and I'm like digesting it, I do enjoy it. Um, I think I might just be like a super slow reader then. You know, I don't know. I think it's interesting.
I also think that there might be something about you have to force yourself like no one even me, okay, I've always liked reading, but when I would take big breaks in reading it would be very hard to get back into it. My mind would wander initially, but you just have to read, like force yourself past the mind wandering phase usually.
Right.
Like say, okay, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to read today for 15-20 minutes, right? And your mind's going to wander in the first 5, and then it might wander for the whole 20, but you actually did it, you actually read. Okay, these are my arguments for books. One, it's the most uh well, also, like no one okay, it's so to me it's a little bit silly whenever people are like, "Yeah, I don't like reading." Because when you're online, if you're reading a- anything online, you're reading, right? Like
That's true.
if you go and you like are on a website looking at something being said, you're reading it, and usually it's engaging and you enjoy reading it. When you're reading the comments on something, you're reading.
Right.
It's not like reading is only books. Um, but reading a book is a lot more daunting, I feel like, because you're like, oh, I'm not making very much progress. Uh, it takes it's a lot more reading than what most people are used to. Because if all you do is read Instagram comments, all right, well, you're about like 2 sentences is your max before
Right.
you start to lose interest in what's being said.
Right.
So I think there is an aspect of training your brain. Okay, I'm gonna read, and you can do it in a time goal, or you could even do like a page goal. Okay, I'm gonna read 3 pages of this book, and you force yourself to read it, and then the next day you do it again, and 3 pages gets a little bit easier. You have to train your brain for reading just like anything else.
Right.
Um, and then once you get to a point where it's like, oh man, I can just really read. Yeah, I don't know. I think because I don't know. I think whenever like maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think there's anyone that actually does not enjoy reading because everyone reads. So it's just okay. Maybe you don't enjoy reading books, but then to me that just seems like it seems like a silly thing to say because it's such a wide thing with so much being communicated, and it's how for all of human history before the internet, you got information pretty much. And so it's like, are you sure that you don't like reading? Because you know, because it's just a skill that you have to develop, and if you
Right.
don't have it
That's
developed at all, you're not going to enjoy it. But if you develop, like, yeah, I don't know. Anyways,
so
it's a little
okay.
tangent.
This is my thing. There is that's a lot of reading as a skill. It's not reading for enjoyment. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like reading online is like the act is not necessarily reading. Like that's not the primary thing. That's just like a skill set. That's like okay, I read, but it's like people don't get done reading comments and be like, oh yeah, I just read all that. It's like the focus isn't that, and
Right, but honestly, when I read a really good book, I don't finish and just go, man. Like I'm so engaged, like the
right,
whole time. I'm not thinking about the fact that I'm reading. I don't finish and think, oh man, I just read. Usually, it's like I'm fully engaged, locked into what's being said. I feel like someone's brain is connected to mine, transferring ideas. It's
yeah,
it's not like I'm
I
thinking
guess so.
about reading the whole time.
Yeah, I think there's just a difference in reading online versus like a book because
Right, I
it's
agree, and I was saying, I think the primary difference is the volume, right?
well,
Online, you might be
also
reading a sentence or two.
just the goal of what like you're doing. Like your goal when you open a book is like, okay, I'm gonna read and I enjoy reading, or I don't enjoy reading and I'm making myself read. You know what I'm saying? But if you're online, you're not like reading for enjoyment. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know that I necessarily agree. Like when you open the comments on a video, you're going there to read stuff for enjoyment.
Right. I guess I just don't read comments. I don't. I don't know. It's yeah. I don't know. I understand what you're saying, but I think there's I don't know how to articulate a
That's another thing,
refute.
the more you read, the better you become at articulating things.
That's yeah. I yeah. Sure. I don't I don't like to do that, and I'm bad at articulating. I don't know why Siri popped up. Ain't nobody talking to you. Um, roasted. Um, gotcha. Got
Yikes!
Siri,
Yikes! 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 Yikes!
dude.
You said you had a story about Mason today.
I do have a story about Mason. Welcome back to our segment, stories about Mason. Um, this one is a more recent story. Um, that I don't think I was the only one that partook in, but Mason. So when we all have these sleepovers, right? When we were younger. Not this one. It wasn't too long ago. I don't know how many years ago this was, but whenever we would go and sleep over, somebody would pick a movie, and we just watch like a funny movie. It's like, oh, this one's funny, whatever. Um, and
Hey, can you
sometimes,
silence your phone,
yeah, I'm
please?
doing that right now.
Cool.
Sometimes like the movies are like a bit like weird and like gross, and it's like, ew, what is it? What is this? Right? But anyways, that's the context that we're in right now, right? Because we usually watch a movie. So it's Mason's birthday, and we go to watch a movie, and for some reason I don't understand. I feel like the title should have thrown us all off to be like, okay, let's probably not watch this movie, right? But the title was called Inbred, and this movie, I don't know why we started watching this, and I was like, okay, well, I guess we're watching this, right? And so it's Mason's birthday, and it's like he has some people over, and then I can't remember who left first, but a few people left. It was like, did you leave first, or you and Trey maybe?
I might have left, but I didn't leave because of the movie. I left because I had to go to bed.
Right, right, right.
I was sleepy.
Somebody, I think you left early, and then we were just watching this movie, and it was like kind of just like not no plot at first, and just kind of like confusing, and then you start like not even really grasping it, but it just like gets kind of really weird really quickly, and like kind of gross and like inappropriate stuff with like kids, and I'm like, what is going on here? Like this is an awful movie, and so I just felt grossed out, and then I left, and the I don't know, that's that was just Mason's choice, and there's not really much about
That's a crazy story to tell.
yeah, I don't
It's
know.
just go Mason. Okay, I'm gonna provide some context in defense of Mason.
Yeah, give Mason defense. I didn't
Because
articulate that.
that story makes it sound like Mason just like I don't know what it made Mason sound like, but I'm gonna give context to help.
Yeah,
Okay, we've been having sleepovers since I was in fourth grade. So okay, let me do the math. How many years is that?
10 years.
Like yeah, going on 10 years now. At the height of that, we were probably having one, and in the summertime, maybe two or three sleepovers a week with each other, just sleeping over at each other's house all the time. And we would watch movies to go to sleep because we would sleep in the living room if we couldn't all fit in a bedroom. So like me, Kobe, Mason, Trey, we'd all be in the living room sleeping. Um, and this thing kind of started where we would always like scroll for hours on the stream. Not hours. That's huge exaggeration. We'd always scroll though,
Too
looking for
long, no.
a movie, and then we'd eventually pick one and we'd watch it. And every time it was bad. And that happened probably 5 or 6 times in a row before we were like, okay, we just watch bad movies every time. And then we kind of leaned into it, and the sleepovers just became an excuse to watch like the most backwater crazy movie that floated up on Prime. And so, honestly, Mason killed it with that movie choice. It was a perfect example of the kind of movie we would watch in our sleepovers, where you just put it on and there's really not a plot. It's just weird, and then you get to the end, and you're like, who put this together? Why did I watch it? Um, so there is some purpose behind it because we always would watch bad movies. So it's like you're trying to find the bottom of the barrel whenever we would do a sleepover. It was like, what's the worst movie we can find? just to give some context.
Yeah, I told that poorly, but yeah, I think he still brings it up to this day. So that's why I told it because Mason will still be like, "Hey, you're not actually invited to my party because we're gonna watch a movie." And last time we watched a movie, you left. And I was like, "Oh, yeah,
We
that's true."
also one time did a movie and a bunch of people left because they didn't like it, and it was an amazing movie. It's one of my favorite movies
What
to
movie?
be in theaters in a long time. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Oh yeah, I didn't. Yeah,
I thought that movie was literally it's one of the best movies I've seen in theaters in a long time, and it is weird, but also you know you got to give room. Oh, I sound so stupid saying this, but you have to give room for art to be a little bit weird so that it can kind of push boundaries a little bit. And then also, I think that it ends up with a, like you want to think a little bit when you're leaving the movies. You want to leave a little bit going, what did I watch? Like, let me think about this. I think that's a good movie, is if you leave and you're not, like a really, when you leave Trolls, you're not thinking, let me ponder this movie. You watch Trolls. And anyways, all that to say, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Mason, I just want to say right now that when you picked that movie, I thought you did a fantastic job because it's a great movie, and all the hate you got was unjustified.
yeah. That one was like not necessarily the wrong movie. I think it was a good film as a whole. It was pretty weird at parts. But I think the pushback there was the crowd because it was like all the guys that we usually have plus like a few of their girlfriends and wives. And so that I think that was the reason there was pushback was because it was like kind of inappropriate stuff, and then it's like it was just a different crowd than normal. I think that was the pushback more than the movie there, but yeah, I mean I don't super have a strong opinion on that.
Yeah, I still stand by it. I think honestly, and I forgot the reasoning why. I remember having a strong opinion. It's too far ago now. Far ago. Anyways, um,
I have something. So
okay,
coffee golf. We talked about this. That we probably were gonna end it because Trey, but I do have to bring up this week because I decided to email them, and I have not gotten a response. But you want me to read the email that
if you asked
I
Coffee
sent?
Golf for a sponsorship, I'm gonna cringe live on air.
I did ask him for a
Oh my
sponsorship,
gosh!
dude. I just think it's funny, honestly.
All right,
Do you want me to read it or no?
yeah, let's hear it.
Okay. Because I also don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I feel like guys that's pretty clear. Um.
Right.
So hello, my name is Logan, and I'm a co-host on a growing podcast named "Keeping Our Buddy Mason in the Loop."
They searched this podcast, Logan, and they found it, and they realized
Well,
that.
no, I linked it.
Okay, okay,
Don't worry. My co-host and I are fans of the mobile game created by Shallot Games named Coffee Golf. Shallot or Shallow, I don't. There's a T, but I don't know if it's silent or not. I don't know. Anyways, named Coffee Golf. We play this game every day, and we would love to work together with you in a partnership. I believe with our platform, we'd be able to grow together as a brand and bring fans of our podcast to your game. Please let me know if you're interested or if there's someone I can be put in touch with to speak more about this partnership with. Thank you. And then I linked the page. So,
hey,
dude,
hats off.
hats are off. And I don't expect a reply because why would they reply? Please tell me why.
Right,
I don't.
right.
But I just thought it was funny because wouldn't it be funny if we got sponsored by Coffee Golf? So I
That
I
would be
sent it.
funny.
I sent it.
Right. I would do
Um,
it for free.
I would do it for free.
Just to say that they actually sponsored us would
Yeah,
be enough for me.
just like
We don't
what
even
would.
need to be paid. No form of payment
So I
necessary for
guess we're
me.
sponsored right now.
No, I want them to say
That's what. Yeah.
you guys represent us. That's what I want.
Right. I want to be posted on their page with no
I
link
want
to
every
us.
time you open Coffee Golf to get a little clip from
Yeah.
our podcast. No. So okay, a few more brands that I'm okay, I'm getting into fragrance, I think, more
Oh yeah.
than lately. Um
Like cologne.
all of it. Like just smelling good in general. Cuz I
Mm.
just I always have been like I've always liked smelling good. First of all, Dr. Squatch, huge. It's amazing. I love it. Um and their ads are all over the place, so I'm sure most people have already heard of them. But every time I use their soap, I just feel clean. Like it makes me feel real clean. Um, Also,
Sponsor us.
I found out about solid perfumes and clones recently, which I didn't know were a thing.
Solid.
Solid, yeah, like they come in little containers and they're a solid.
What?
And they're really interesting. And then I was on the fragrance Reddit and I saw like this stuff about layering scents. Really interesting. And I don't really have anywhere I'm going with this other than the fact that I kind of stumbled into this rabbit hole while at work.
Huh.
And what do you know about the Wayfair cabinets conspiracy theory?
The Wayfair. What?
Cabinets conspiracy theory.
I don't know what that is.
Okay. We were talking about this at work today. It was insane. Okay, so Wayfair is a company, right? And I
Sure.
might get a lot of these details wrong. So everything that I'm about to say, just know, just hey, if you're watching this and you're thinking, man, I need to get some information from this podcast, this is not the part to
This
get
is
information
not
from because I don't know what I'm
Mason.
saying.
Please Google it or something.
Yeah, Mason,
Come on.
do independent research because I'm about to just talk out of my butt for 15 minutes. Okay, so
15 minutes.
Wayfair, right? It's a company. They make stuff. Okay, they happen to make cabinets. Okay, like big tall cabinets, right? There was someone who noticed that some of the cabinets of the exact same model were going for different prices, also crazy high prices, like tens of thousands of dollars. And the cabinets had names, and the names were the names of children that had gone missing, which is insane. Wayfair said, this is what they said. They were like, blah 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 blah, the pricing, blah blah blah, stupid reason. And then they said all of the names are randomly generated by a thing and put on there. And I was like, okay, what company is randomly generating names with an AI and just throwing it on their items? That's insane, right? You pick the name. You just go oak cabinet or like metal cabinet. You don't just generate a random name like, you know, Sally Joe and go, okay, that's what our cabinet's going to be called. And then also it was weird because like two cabinets identical, different prices. So basically, people were saying that they think that Wayfair was selling the children.
Yeah, I understood that. I don't. Ugh. I don't know. I don't have words for that. I don't know. That's awful. I don't,
Okay, no strong opinion.
no, I mean, I don't doubt that that's true. That's awful, but
Do
I
you
don't
do some
know.
research? Get back to me on it.
I'm not gonna do any research.
Could have
I
just
don't.
fabricated everything,
I believe
and
you.
you
I
go
don't.
on believing that Wayfair was a horrible company for the rest of your life, and you don't know that.
I mean, I don't super care. I'm not in the cabinet business. I don't.
Not yet, you aren't. What if
That's
Wayfair offered
true.
us a sponsorship?
We'll take anything right now, but
I would not. I wouldn't take a sponsorship from Wayfair.
I mean, we'll discuss it. No. Well, that's about all I got in the tank. I don't
That's
know if
all right. Where are we at time wise?
it's been probably about 30 minutes, something like that.
30 minutes. That's all you need.
30, 40
You don't get any
ish.
more than that. Mason, I'm gonna hop on Lethal Company in a second here, so I can't wait to play with you. Logan's gonna join us.
We'll see.
And it's gonna be super fun.
Yeah.
Peace
Thanks.
out, folks.
Thanks for watching.